Fish hatcheries were started to help rebuild declining stocks that the human population relied on. In today's growing economy, humans are becoming more and more reliant on fish as a source of food, jobs, entertainment, and global trade. The need for commercial fishing and sport fishing is also growing to keep up with the demand. Alaska must expand its hatcheries before the hatcheries and wild stocks need help. There has been a push for a greater amount of commercial harvest while providing more sport fishing opportunities in Alaska. There are hatcheries on streams, and those must maintain a balance using scientific data to supplement streams while not overwhelming the native populations. Increasing or expanding hatcheries in Alaska's saltwater provides more commercial and sport harvesting to occur, and the fish do not interfere with stream fish. Increasing the number of eggs in a river or stream hatcheries to a higher level, one that the river can support, will allow more fish to spawn in the streams and increase reproducing populations. Take people's wage as a comparison. If one were to be paid a set wage that does not take into account inflation, eventually their pay would not be enough to support them in the economy. The same goes for hatcheries. If hatcheries were not allowed to expand production when the demand for fish as food, as sport catch, and commercial catch, hatcheries will eventually become unable to support the economy. Other than the in-depth internal characteristics from an otolith, there is no other way to pick a fish out of a stream and say that it's from a hatchery or not. That's because they're identical. Native salmon take part in homing to natal streams. Hatchery fish do as well. They are more successful when the hatchery that they were raised in is in a river or stream versus in saltwater. Kevin Delaney, reporting from the Fairbanks Daily News Miner, found that 15% of hatchery pinks did not return to the stream from which their eggs were collected, but to a new stream. I have heard some say that this strain is bad and needs to stop. I have also heard that these same people say that salmon are declining and need help. I think that this strain does help the declining salmon populations by providing more spawning-able salmon into their area. A retired Oregon State University fisheries professor, Jim Lennon, notes that the two strongest wild runs of coho in Oregon are in rivers where their domesticated stock breed with wild fish. The straying rate may only be higher for hatchery fish because the survival rate is higher. There is also much more focus on hatchery fish straying and less focus on native fish straying. Straying is a natural process and part of an inherent need for survival. A man named Jeff Bernard investigated the controversy over hatchery fish and wild stocks in Oregon. One person he interviewed says this: "We can have a California condor raised in a laboratory and turn them loose, and then they are wild. Yet we have a higher standard for fish. There's something wrong with that." And I agree. The eggs are taken from wild stock, only reared in a hatchery for a short time to decrease the mortality rate, and then they are released back into their natural environment to complete the exact same life cycle they would if they were reared in the stream. I have seen firsthand how eggs are collected for hatcheries right here in Fairbanks. I worked with the Alaska Department of Fish and Game, and that has opened my eyes to new inner workings on how Alaska's fisheries really operate. I worked specifically with the Stocked Waters Division and took part in the king salmon egg take in the Chena River. If hatcheries were to stop production, the wild salmon populations would not be strong enough to support today's need in terms of food and jobs. Eric Folk with the Alaska Department of Fish and Game says that Alaska has substantial economic and social benefits from hatchery enhancement. Humans are part of nature and always have been. We need to help support the environment we live in, not only for the fish, but for us as well.